Heroes come in different forms. Some are born with their destiny, while others stumble into it through divine prophecies. There are those who emerge from the unlikeliest of circumstances, whether it's from the depths of a dark dungeon or while kneeling at a chopping block gazing up at the hooded executioner. In Tamriel, a world fraught with existential threats, there is always a hero ready to rise to the occasion and save the day. These courageous mortals slay dragons, confront Daedric princes, and even challenge the living gods. But among these remarkable heroes, who stands as the Tamriel's greatest, who faced the most formidable odds, conquered the greatest evil, and left an indelible mark on the people of Tamriel for generations to come? Today we will answer these questions by comparing their stories, accomplishments, and powers of the three mightiest champions from across the continent, and we will determine Tamriel's greatest hero. So let's begin. When it comes to a legendary hero, they don't simply materialize to rescue cats from trees or stop village nuisance. True heroes emerge in response to genuine peril, when a menacing villain threatens to conquer the world, or when a deity grows weary and decides to play with civilization, like tiny anthills under a colossal magnifying glass. In typical fantastical fashion, Tamriel's heroes are often the chosen ones, destined by prophecies. While their predictability is understandable, it's also what adds the necessary drama to their epic tales. Now for our first hero, he or she emerged in response to a profound betrayal, when the divine trio consisting of Vivek, Almalexia, and Sotasil defiled the will of Azura. Her wrath unfurled across Morrowind like a tempest of ash, leading to a transformation of the once golden-skinned Chimer into the grey-skinned, red-eyed Dunmer as a result of their blasphemy. They were not just cursed. Within the curse lay a promise. It foretold the return of a chosen one who would eventually overthrow these false deities. Following the demise of Indoril Nerevar, the tribunal had assured Azura that they would refrain from meddling with Kagronak's tools or the heart of Lorkhan, swearing a sacred oath. Regrettably, this oath was swiftly broken. The mortal ascended to godhood, while Azura vowed to use her powers over dusk and dawn to ensure Nerevar's eventual return and the restoration of what was right. However, the tribunal merely scoffed at her prophecies, asserting that they themselves would soon achieve godhood, and the Khaziti people who would forget their old ways of worship. Even millennia after their apotheosis, the tribunal continued to be revered as gods in Morrowind, and the ancient forms of worship were only preserved by a select few. While the murder of Nerevar remained known to only a handful, his queen and general harbored hope for his return, as the echoes of Azura's curse lingered and his remark remained visible in the lives of their people every day. The second hero faced a grim prospect, as they believed they were destined to meet their end in the frigid, unwelcoming confines of an imperial prison cell, with the echoes of obnoxious taunts from a fellow inmate. However, their fate took an unexpected turn when destiny descended upon the prison in the form of a figure clad in a white fur mantle. This mysterious visitor claimed to have seen the imprisoned hero in their dreams. This visitor was none other than Emperor Uriel Septim VII. The moment was significant as the Emperor's assassination loomed. The Septim dynasty appeared to be in its twilight, and the barrier separating the mortal realm from oblivion weakened. Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric prince, waited in the Deadlands, with his legions of Daedra poised for destruction. In this dire hour, the only hope for all of Tamriel rested in the hands of this humble prisoner, tasked with the monumental mission of recovering the Amulet of Kings and uncovering the secret heir to the imperial throne. This unassuming prisoner would embark on a treacherous journey through the filth-laden sewers, ultimately emerging on the shores of Lake Romare. It is worth noting that had this hero not submerged themselves beneath the water, their stench alone might have been enough to repel Dagon's forces. Unfortunately, with the fate of the entire continent hanging in the balance, Tamriel united in prayer, fervently calling upon the divines for deliverance and beseeching them for a savior. The final hero was perhaps the most unlikely of them. While the people of Skyrim remained blissfully unaware of the impending doom that hung over them, this hero found themselves in a dire predicament. They were bound and confined on the back of a horse-drawn cart, entangled in the midst of seemingly inconsequential civil war, oblivious to the true draconic threat looming over the realm. As fate would have it, this hero disembarked from the cart upon their arrival in Helgon. Had the hero nailed even a fraction of a moment faster, or if the executioner had refrained from that ill-timed pause to address his own needs, the world might have succumbed to Alduin, the old leader. This fearsome dragon had returned, and it signified one thing for the Nords: the impending end of time. Banished millennia ago and propelled forward in time by the enigmatic Elder Scrolls and the ancient Nord heroes, Alduin had now reached the future, poised to fulfill his apocalyptic destiny. To assist him, Alduin had resurrected countless dragons buried across the province. These formidable creatures could be vanquished, but it took a rare combination of skill and valor to confront them. As for Alduin himself, the first time he had been thwarted required the effort of 3 legendary heroes, harnessing the power of the tomb and the knowledge of Elder Scrolls itself. But even this victory was only temporary. Now with the first hero, Azura's prophecy had begun with vague inscriptions, and the identity of Nerevarine, reborn from Nerevar, was far from straightforward. This hero could belong to any race and their gender could vary, making them elusive and unpredictable. The tribunal, initially demigods themselves, remained vigilant and fearful of the Nerevarine. Ignoring the significance of Azura's prophecies would have been folly even for these powerful beings. The prophecy foretold that the Nerevarine would be impervious to harm from both disease and the ravages of time. This immunity extended to the devastating skin blight emanating from Red Mountain. Additionally, the prophecy dictated that the Nerevarine, also known as Moon and Star Reborn, would possess the charisma, strength, and leadership skills necessary to unite the Great Houses and the Ashlander tribes. This exceptional hero's journey was marked by significant milestones. They navigated Red Mountain's treacherous ash storm and faced hordes of grotesque blight creatures, the slaying of dreaded cliff racers, a task no one had accomplished before. But the true significance of Nerevarin's deed became apparent within the heart of Dwemer Range at the Red Mountain. There, the Nerevarine confronted their old companion, Daedric, engaging in a fierce battle atop a precarious bridge overlooking the undulating lava flows of a volcano. Daedric offered the Nerevarine the power of Akula Khan, but he was powerless to thwart the fulfillment of Azura's prophecy. The Nerevarine consumed the corruption of the Sixth House, severed the planet's connection to the heart of Lorkhan, obliterated the second new medium, and vanquished the now mortal Daedric. As a result, the heart of Lorkhan vanished from the mortal realm, and the tribunal of demigod reverted to mere mortals. Almalexia, driven to madness, killed Sothasil, while Vivek's fate remained shrouded in mystery. The champion of Cyrodiil skillfully evaded the relentless Mythic Dawn assassins, successfully keeping the Amulet of Kings out of their clutches. They then embarked on a quest to locate the secret scepter of Mare, while assisting the Imperials in their valiant efforts to defend Kvatch from invading Daedric hordes. Venturing into the perilous Oblivion Gates, they scoured the Deadlands in search of the Sigil Stone, an arduous task, but this was only the beginning of their incredible journey. The hero of Kvatch infiltrated the Mythic Dawn, cunningly stole the Mysterium's Ark, and led a daring assault against Dagon's forces in Bruma. They then entered Gair Alata, where they faced and ultimately defeated Manimarco and Mankar Cameron, putting an end to his sinister plans and destroying his realm. With the champion's invaluable assistance, Martin Septim was able to don the Amulet of Kings, rekindle the dragon fires, and transform into an avatar of Akatos, thus banishing Mehrunes Dagon back to the Deadlands. With this crisis averted, the champion of Cyrodiil's work was far from over. Turning their attention to the return of Umbriel the Unfeathered, the dreaded Sorcerer King, the champion reclaimed the lost relic of Divine Crusader and what Pelinal White Strake had initiated. Their journey took them to bizarre realm of Sheogorath, the Shivering Isle, where they engaged in a duel against Jigalag, the Prince of Order, and ultimately assumed the mantle of Mad God, becoming Sheogorath himself. By the time their adventures concluded, the champion of Cyrodiil had amassed an impressive list of titles and accolades, including the Hero of Kvatch, Savior of Bruma, Divine Crusader, Lord Sheogorath himself, and etc. Their celebrity status even earned him an adoring fan. These remarkable achievements were made even more impressive when considering the champion's humble origins. In addition to their primary storyline accomplishment, those in the DLC, the Last Dragonborn achieved a great deal as well, including being recognized as the Dragonborn by the Greybeards, reforming the Blades, learning the powerful shouts required to confront Alduin, capturing and riding a dragon, and journeying to Sovngarde to vanquish the Old Eater. The Last Dragonborn's next challenge revolved around preventing the vampire threat in the Sea of Ghosts. By eliminating Lord Harkon of the ancient Volkihar clan, they thwarted a sinister plan to use Auriel's bow to eclipse the sun and create a world ruled by vampires. Their adventures also took them to Hermaeus Mora's realm of Oblivion, Apocrypha, where they confronted Mirak, the first Dragonborn. Each hero was indispensable in their respective times, but the question of the greatest among them is not clear answer. While their current state may be eccentric, but if we were to simply compare the power levels of these three heroes, the other heroes I think cannot contend with someone who outmatched a Daedric prince and ascended to godhood. But comparing them just in terms of power levels I think would not be a proper comparison. So the Nerevarine faced off against the demigod Almalexia and the immortal guardian of the heart, Dagatha-Ur. Dagatha-Ur's crowning achievement was being empowered by the heart of Lorkhan, while the tribunal was growing weaker without it. Challenging and overturning the tribunal, who had ruled Morrowind for 4 centuries, was no easy feat. Vivek had held the ghost fence alone, and much of his divine energy was tied up in the endeavor. With Dagatha-Ur defeated and the heart gone, the tribunal lost their godhood. Vivek's fate remains unknown, and we know that in a bout of madness, Almalexia murdered Sotha-Sil. So the Nerevarine can only take credit for slaying Almalexia, who was a mighty warrior, but without the power of Lorkhan's heart, she was a shadow of her former self. So the Nerevarine ended the tribunal's agelessness and killed 2 beings who weren't quite the gods. The last Dragonborn, on the other hand, killed a vampire lord, a Dragonborn, and most significantly, Alduin, the first son of Akathos, who was destined to consume the world. The last Dragonborn certainly possessed the most superior powers among the 3 heroes without Azura's protection for the Nerevarine and before reaching godhood for the hero of Kavach. The champion of Cyrodiil and Nerevarine would likely have been obliterated by the sheer might of the Tharn. However, I would argue that Nerevarine's deeds were more impressive. While the last Dragonborn killed Alduin, it was not done without help of 3 legendary warriors. As for champion of Cyrodiil, Umbriel the Unfeathered, Manimargo and Mankar Cameron were formidable foes, but it was Martin Septim who became an avatar of Akathos, ultimately ending the Oblivion crisis. Now between Nerevarine and the last Dragonborn, I just think that the feats of the Nerevarine are more significant in Tamriel even after the main quest. The last Dragonborn's action in the main quest begin and end with the dragons. It's possible that he broke temporary truce in the civil war, but does not end it. The Nerevarine, on the other hand, ends the tribunal as we know it, and as the Dawnmar have known it for generations, corpus disease had been a problem long before his arrival, and the ghost fence, a fixture of Morrowind for years, and he changes all of that. In spite of all that the last Dragonborn had done, life at the start of 4th Era 201 and at the end of it looked exactly the same. The Nerevarine, however, changed the religion of the entire province of Morrowind, removed a terminal disease, and to some extent or another became a symbol of unity for the Dawnmar, as he became the orator for every community on Vvardenfell. As of the present days, all 3 heroes are likely alive. The fate of the last Dragonborn after returning from Sovngarde remains unrevealed. The champion of Cyrodiil is governing the Shivering Isle, and the Nerevarine is somewhere in Akavir. Their stories may not be over, but taking everything into consideration, the last Dragonborn stopped Alduin, but the common theory is that Akathos only sent a Dragonborn because Alduin had strayed from his purpose. He bowed to his nature, and instead of ending the Kalpa as he is meant to, he sought to dominate. The last Dragonborn also stopped the Volkihar clan and Mirak, but in the process was a plaything for a Daedric prince. The hero of Kavach, or the champion of Cyrodiil, was instrumental in keeping Mehrunes Dagon for Tamriel. Even if it wasn't their sacrifice that necessarily saved Tamriel, that said, without them Martin would likely be dead. The Amulet of Kings would belong to Mankar Cameron, who would be the Emperor of Paradise. Historically, things in Tamriel go pretty sideways when people fuck with Amulet of Kings. Nerevarine, or the Orator, kept the Akula Khan from being built, removed the tribunal source of power, and stopped Dagatha-Ur. Dagatha-Ur was going to use Akula Khan to sweep Tamriel with Corpus, turning all living beings into Corpus beasts, incapable of death, but doomed to live in misery. The world would be Dagoth's version of perfection, where he is the only god, which frankly he could probably get close to with Akula Khan and the Hard Tools. But I don't think any of these can be compared to the other in a meaningful way. These are all extinction level events for every being in Tamriel and beyond. I guess it depends on what the individuals thinks has the most impact, but we can be sure that without any of these prisoners, there wouldn't be a world left to save. And true, from lore perspective, they are all incredibly important and all of them save Tamriel from certain doom. That said, from a narrative standpoint, I think there's some arguing to be had. First of all, I immediately discount the hero of Kavach because he isn't the main character of the Oblivion main quest. It's Martin. And although the hero of Kavach was very important in allowing Martin to do as he did, at the end of the day, so was Delphine and Paarthurnax for the last Dragonborn. Now, between Nerevarine and Last Dragonborn, I just think the feats of Nerevarine are just more significant in Tamriel, even after the main quest. The Last Dragonborn's action in the main quest begins and ends with Dragon, as I said before. And it's possible he brokered a temporary truce in Civil War, but it does not end it. But there's one more which I am a bit hesitant to put, because I do not consider the Elder Scrolls Online to be much of a game, but from lore's perspective it does offer tons of information, and the hero I am talking about is the Vestige. And if we were to include the Vestige, I think he or she takes the cake. Vestige's heroic acts are not limited to a single corner of Tamriel. They are also the only protagonist who can become the Emperor. So what does Vestige do really, you ask? Well, let's see. He or she fought Molag Bal and tried to stop Plainmail, Sheogorath, and the trials of Ivia, the Triad, and their plan to reshape Nocturnal and her plot to become omnipotent, which is separate from what the Triad tried to do in my opinion, and Dagon and his Proto-Oblivion crisis. Yep, that's 5 extinction level event, not to mention Manimarco's plan to absorb and replace Molag Bal, the Dragon Crisis in Elsewhere, Rada Al Saran's Neo Grey Ghost with the ability to respawn indefinitely, plus countless not so old-ending plots of mad rulers, leeches, sorcerers, necromancers, rich men, usurpers, etc. Honestly, the Vestige has dealt with more shit than the player characters of all the other games combined. However, personally, as for my favorite hero in Tamriel, the Nerevarines act as a hero that transformed the world of Tamriel, the lives he changed during his journey, the avenging of Endoril Nerevar to a degree, and in a weird way, the freeing of Devil from the Dagoth Or is so very much impacting and interesting to me. And that is it for the video, and aside from that, I've been absent for past month or so due to various reasons, but I'm planning to keep it regularly again, and I've been thinking about this for some times, that is to expand the topics of discussion in this channel to more than just Elder Scrolls, which I had planned when I started this channel. Anyways, with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and like always, if I've been unclear or inaccurate about anything, please feel free to let me know down in the comments. May Talus guide you in your quest.